Welcome back everybody! Today we're gonna do a tire shootout of 5 RC4 drive tires, and we're gonna compare them to the stock tires that we have on our Tacoma right now. So the test will be that we're gonna use Batrazzi's black Steelie wheels with the brass insert here, or brass ring. And we're gonna test each and every tire in the incline test to see if they behave in a similar way, since the tire size is a bit different. We have a tire size from 52.4 millimeters down to 49.5 here. And also the tire width goes from 18.4 up to 21.25. And also we have 2 different tire compounds. We have X2S3 compound and also the advanced X3. So the feel is a bit different. So it will be very fun to see if the tires behave differently depending on the tire compound and also the tire size. So as usual we will try to do the incline test to see if the tires behave differently and what fits the Tacoma here. Because we have a quite small tire size from the beginning, so we don't want any rubbing, or as little as possible. And also if we get some tire rubbing, we'll see if we can do some small trimming to get it to fit. Because I think if we can have one of these tires on the vehicle, it will be a great improvement of the stock tires, both in grip and the weight, since we have the brass ring here. And in the first video we did the CG test, but we have done some improvements and mods, so we will redo it. Not between every single tire, but we will do a CG test with the stock tire, and then we will do it with the new Batrazzi rims, so we can see what kind of CG we have. And also in the second part of the video, after we do all the tests, we will look at the high clearance links. In the last video we did the links itself, but now I have done a 3D printed 3-link, as you can see here. So now we have tucked the drive shaft up in the middle of the links here, as you can see. So it's a bit longer, and also I redid how the angle of the 3-link is, so we get a bit more separation at the axle here. So hopefully we'll get some more separation of the back axle when we do our inclines. So that will benefit of the weight shift of the entire car. And also, since we moved the battery in the last video, we 3D printed our own battery mount. I printed a new one since the last video. So when we freed up all the space here, I could turn around the transmission. Because if we look here, the drive shaft is a bit higher on this side of the transmission than it is on the other side. And from the factory, the transmission comes in the other way around, but I wanted to tuck the drive shaft, as I said, so I have angled the back axle, so we have a pinion angle that is more vertical, and also we turn around the transmission, as I said, so we have a drive shaft that is more tucked away inside the frame here. So as you can see, the original links is straight, so we have a lot more clearance when we do our climbing. So that will be a really good benefit when we come outside after the winter, when we do our real crawling and so on. And also, depending on the CG, we will redo our front links. I have a brass tube here. This one is 2mm ID and 3mm OD, and this one is 2mm ID and 5mm ODs. And the weight of this one is much higher than the weight of the link we have right now. Depending depending on the weight we have, we want to have 60-40 as I said earlier. So now we have the means to do it if we need to. And alright, it's quite a long intro, but I wanted to explain everything that I'm gonna do. So let's reposition, do the CG tests now with the original tires. And then we will do the CG test of the brass rim here with the tire on. And then we'll go on with the video. And then test each tire to see if we see any grip difference and what tire behaves and performs the best in the incline test. So let's go on. Alright, now we have the original tires on the scale here. If we weigh the entire car, we have 398 grams. And if we weigh the front axle, we have 238 grams. So 238 divided by 398, that's 59.8%. So we are really close to reaching our 60-40 goal. And if we weigh the back axle, 156 grams. 156 divided by 398, that's 39.2% at the back. So 59.8 at the front and 39.2 at the rear. So it's really close now. Alright, first test is with the stock tires and we start at 53.2 degrees. So let's see if we can get up this at first. As you can see, the car handles the incline, but the tires are struggling a bit. But we managed. So let's increase the incline. So let's try 54 degrees. 54.2. 54.2, yeah? Now we're getting to the limit. Let's try to keep the momentum going. As you see there, we are really on the limit now. So let's try 55 dead on. Yeah, we will make it. Alright, 55. Can we get up to 55.5 then? Yeah, we made it. So 55.7. Let's continue. So 56.5. 56.6. If we just can get the traction. Yeah, we will get it eventually. But now I think we have really met the limit. And now we can see the excellent speed handling of the FMS vehicles. They are really incredible in this circumstances. Really good. And now I will change the tires. We will start with the KM3 tires and then move along as we go to see which tires fit the best and performs the best on this vehicle. Alright, we have switched the tires to RC4WD KM3 BFGoodrich KM3 tires. I think the design really looks good on this vehicle. So let's see what kind of weight we get now. 520 grams. And the front weight is 299 grams. So if we take the calculator, 299 divided by 520, that's 57.5% at the front. And if we weigh the back, we have 217 grams. So 217 divided by 520, that's 41.7%. So now the CD has shifted back since we have added a lot of weight at the back axle. Alright, we're back where we left off with the stock tires. So let's see if we can make this, or if the vehicle is the limiting factor now. It should handle this a bit better since we have more weight on it. And as you can see, it's a bit more precise with these tires and the added weight in the wheels. So let's increase to 57 degrees. Alright, 57 degrees now. I would say that these tires don't grip. It's a bit surprising, I think. I thought these tires should hook up better than the stock tires. But alright, now we have tried it and we got a half of a degree more. So it's a gain nevertheless. So now we will switch up again and see how the tires fit and if we get some rubbing. Alright, fitment test. I would say these tires look really good on this vehicle. They really suit the theme of Tacoma here. And the fitment, I would say in the normal circumstances they are really good. But we have some rubbing. Yeah, you hear that. We have some rubbing even when we are driving normally. Perhaps it needs to be trimmed a bit in the inside of the wheel well here, and also at the front we can trim away some of the plastic here, so we don't change the appearance, but we relieve the inside of the wheel wells. That would be beneficial. So yeah, that's the first test. Let's continue with the Wildpeaks. Alright, we have the Falken Wildpeaks on now. And these tires perhaps looks even better than the KM3s. The tire thread pattern looks really scale and looks really good for the appearance of the truck. Although one thing, the website measurements says that it's 50.3 millimeters in diameter, but this tire are a lot bigger than the previous KM3, even though they are stating that the diameter and the width are the same. But they are not. If we measure this tire, we have approximately 51 millimeters, and if we measure the new tire, I would say that the tire is 52.1, so a bit bigger, and the width are 20 more or less. And one thing, the bead on these tires, I see we haven't got it seated properly. I had a few instances where the bead just popped out, so we have to redo the front tire here. But as I say, I really like the tire pattern and how it looks on the vehicle, but since the tires are even bigger than it states, we will have a lot more rubbing when we are doing our turning. As you can see here, more rubbing than before. But let's not be stuck at that. We will do the incline anyway and see if the grip on these tires are better than the KM3s. So let's reposition again and do the incline test. Alright, we're back at it, 57.5 degrees with the new tires. So let's see if the grip is better or worse. Okay, the grip is even better. The grip is better, but I would say that we have met the car's limitation now. As you see, we topple over really easy. Perhaps if we can get some momentum going, we can get up this. Yeah, perhaps it's worse since the CG is a bit higher. We need to do some changes to the vehicle if you're gonna see the real potential of the tires now. So I think we will do the changes to the front links. So we get a bit more weight, so we have more 60-40 as we want. And then we will try it again. Right. 2 beefy lower units. Let's do the CG test. And then we'll crawl again to see if we've made the vehicle any better. Alright, so let's weigh the vehicle to see what we have. Now we have a vehicle that weighs 526 grams total. And the front axle is now weighing 303 grams. So 303 divided by 526, that's 57.6%. And the back is 219. So 219 divided by 526, that's 41.6% at the rear. So we've added a few tenths of a percent of CG at the front now. So let's see if it's made any difference in the incline test. Alright, we'll try the new lower links to see if the tires are gripping any better. Otherwise we will continue and say that these tires are not the best in the grip on the plastic surface that we have here. The KM3s that we tested before, they made it up this incline. So let's see if we can get any grip. Nope. So I would say these tires are not the best in the grip section. So let's go over to the bench again and see how they fit and so on. And then we will continue with the Patagonias. Alright, back at the bench. I would say that, let's test it like this. If we have full articulation and make it turn, then we will hit the fender again here. And even when we are turning and going forward, the full lock comes in, and then we touch all the way around, I would say. And the same at the back, but not as heavy. So once again, these tires are a bit bigger, as I said before, than the KM3s. So that's why we get a bit more rubbing. And with that, I would say the Wildpeaks aren't as good as the KM3 in our test lab anyway, but I would say that these tires fit the vehicle better than the other tire. The thread pattern looks really good on this vehicle. But let's test the last X2S3 compound, and that is the Patagonias. And I'm really excited about these tires because these are very popular in the comp section. A lot of small tire rigs are running these ones, and they are very happy with these. So let's switch those on and continue with the testing. Alright, we have the Patagonias on now. I think these tires look a bit more sci-fi-ish out. Yeah, I don't know. It's not as clean as the Wildpeaks or the KM3s. These ones are a bit more scale-like, and these ones are a bit more, yeah, I don't know, more rocky. But that's what we want. We want tires that grip the most and makes the vehicle behaves and perform the best. That's the tire we want. So the fitment is good. These tires are a bit wider than the other ones. Let's measure the real values, because the RC4WD drive measurements says that it's 52.4 millimeters in diameter. And these ones were 52, so let's see what this tire are. Yeah, 52.7 more or less. Yeah, let's say 52.5. So that is really near what they say that it is. And the width is 21.5, I would say. And they are telling that it is 21.25 millimeters wide. So that is really near what the reality is. But since the tire are a bit wider than the other ones, when we have the full lock and turn, we will have a lot more rubbing now at the front and also at the rear, unfortunately. So if we would like to run these ones, we would have to raise the body for sure. And we also get some rubbing at the back now. But here we can lower the shock placement if we would like to. But that makes the whole CG move up, so I'm not so keen of that actually. But let's run it on the incline. That's where we would like to see the most improvement. Alright, we're back at 57.55 degrees. So let's see if the Patagonias perform any better than the last tire. Okay, so now we have the limitation of the vehicle still. But as you see, the Patagonias hook up really good on this surface. And as you can see, 57.6 is achievable with this tire. So let's see if we can get a few tenths more out of this tire. Alright, now we'll test 58 degrees. Now it's really steep. Oh yeah, look at this. 58 degrees. Really awesome. Let's keep on going. 58.5. Let's see if we can crawl up this. Really good. 58.5. Let's test 59 degrees now. Alright, now we're at 59.1 degrees. So let's see if we have any success on this. Yeah, now we'll see that the front tire are really loose. But as long as we keep the momentum going, I would say our truck will get this. Oh yeah. 59 degrees, guys. I'm really surprised. Let's get to 60 degrees. Let's see if this makes 60 degrees now. 60 degrees on the clock now. Let's see if we can get this. No. Okay, let's back down to 59.5 degrees, since we have a 59 degrees success. Alright, 59.5 degrees. Let's go. Yeah, no, 59 degrees is max of the vehicle, I would say. The tires will get even more than 59, as we see, but the vehicle is the limiting factor. But let's keep on going. This is a real good test to see how the other tires compare. Now we're coming into the more aggressive lug pattern. We have higher shoulders, and these mudslingers are really aggressive in the lug pattern. So it's gonna be very exciting to see how they perform in our lab here. So let's change the tires again. Alright, we have the Baja Claws on. All four are on. And here we have a straight wheel. And as I said when I mounted the first tire, I reseated this one, and now it's on really good. As you can see, we have a bit of a lip here on the tire. It's uniform and looks really good now. So now let's go over to the incline tests and see how the first advanced X3 tire behaves and how it performs. So let's see if this tire can perform as good as the Patagonias or not. So let's get resituated and let's go. Alright, we're back where we left off with the Patagonias. Let's see if our Baja Claws can climb 59 degrees. Oh yeah. Look at this. Ooh, let's come on. No, it's the start. Let's see if we can keep the momentum going all the way. Come on, come on. Keep on going. Yeah, awesome. Really awesome. But as you can see, the front tires are so loose now. But we're making it. Yeah, 59 degrees without help. That is really awesome. I would never guess that with these tires. So they are at par with the Patagonias. That I would never have guessed, actually. I'm really happy. Let's keep on going with the tests. Now we're gonna test the Super Swamper TSL Bogger from RC4WD Drive. And these tires are the most aggressive ones. The lug patterns and the shoulders are the highest. So let's see how these ones are performing. But I think the Patagonias is better on the rocks than these ones are. But we made it 59.2 degrees with these tires. These would have gone even steeper if the car would have handled it. So let's reposition and let's switch the tires once again. Alright, all the tires are mounted, the final set. Now we're going to see which tires perform the best and fit the best and looks the best. So at the back here you see that it touches the wheel arch a bit, but it won't be any trouble. And at the front here you can see this is a tire that will rub the least, I would say. You have a little bit of rubbing, but not much, I would say. So in most circumstances this tire will fit. But as I said before, we need to trim the wheel wells a bit if we want it to fit really good. So let's reposition and do the last incline test before we sum it up. Alright, 59.25 degrees. So let's see if the Super Swampers can perform as good as the Baja Claws. Yeah, now we have it. Alright, 59.2. So the Super Swampers perform as good as the Baja Claws and also the Patagonias, I would say. So let's see if we can get a bit more out of these ones. 59.5 degrees perhaps. So I will change this up and come back. Alright, 59.55. So let's see if we can ease it up now. Alright, so I would say that these tires also would handle more than 59.5 degrees as we have it now. But we have reached the car's limitations, or? Okay. 59.6 degrees. Alright, I would say that we have reached the limitation of the vehicle. With all the mods that we have done, we have now a vehicle that can climb 59.6 degrees. So with a few more mods on this one, we will reach 60 degrees. I'm certain. Alright, we are finished and the results are in. I would say that the best tires in the grip section is the Patagonias is number 1, and the Baja Claw and the Super Swamper is tied in second place, and the KM3s will come in place 4, and the Wildpeaks come on place 5. And I would say that the best looking ones, I think, is the Wildpeaks. They look the best on the vehicle. And now this vehicle is a trail car in the in the beginning. So if you would only trail this car, I would say the Wildpeak is a really good choice, and the appearance of the car is more scale with these on. The Super Swampers and the Baja Claws, I think will perform the best in the real world, where you have a selection of terrain, where you not just do the rock crawling, because if you do the rock crawling, I think the Patagonias is your best choice by far. But if you do some variety, some stone, some moss, and some earth-like material, I think these two is your best choice. Yeah, number 1 tied second, number 4 and number 5, I would say. And I promised you in the beginning that we would talk a bit about the new 3-link I've made. In the last video we did our own links, and now we have made a new link here to get the CG more sorted. I made the links out of 5mm brass tube instead of 3mm. So here we have a sidewall of a 0.5mm, and here we have a sidewall of 1.75mm. So I've added approximately 7 to 8 grams on the vehicle, and it's down low, so it should help the CG. But the 3-link, when we made our own high clearance links, the drive shaft was protruding on the underside here, since the axle is pointed straight ahead, or the drive shaft is pointed straight ahead from the factory. The 3-link is a bit shorter, so the axle is tilted forward, so we have a straight pinion angle. But now I've made my own 3-link here on my 3D printer. So now we have a clocked axle, so the pinion angle is a lot more aggressive. And then I turn my transmission around. So the drive shaft output of the transmission is approximately 6mm higher than stock. So we have made it so the drive shaft goes from this, more or less, to get tucked in between the lower links like you have it now. So now we have a truck that's really good if you want to come over a crest. Then you have a lot more clearance here to get the traction from the tires to pop over. And I chose to keep the straight links at the front here because I have listened a bit and seen all the internet thoughts about this, and if you have a high clearance front link, you perhaps don't get so much benefit from it, because let's say we have a high clearance links here at the front and the vehicle comes down. It has to scrape over the skid plate and so on before we get back here, so we can get the tire to pop over. But now when we have a straight axle, the car will more easily scrape forward, so we hopefully get into the air here again on the high clearance link, so the car can just drive away. So that's my thought process about it. So alright, in the end we made 3 upgrades. We changed the 3-link, we upgraded the center of gravity with a heavy brass tube here at the lower units, or the lower links. And then we upgraded tires from the stock plastic wheel with a tire, although these are quite good. On this vehicle we benefit a lot from a new tire and a wheel with a lot more weight on it. So if you have followed along, you see from the first stock vehicle to now, we have gone leaps ahead. It's a really good performing truck right now. As I said in the earlier videos of this one, I think the scene of this vehicle is a lot bigger than the scene with the old Camel Trophy rigs. Because this is a scale vehicle. You can't get this to crawl as good as this one, I would say. not with a lot of modifications for the body and so on. So this one I've kept more or less stock on that regard. We've added some weight, and we added 0.8 millimeter brass wheels here. So with that upgrade, this rig really took a few pinholes up, but you can look at that video if you want to see how much of a performance gain we get just from switching wheels on this one. But I think the Tacoma has a larger scene, and if you want this truck to crawl a lot better, you have a good platform to do it. So if you see the wheel wells here, that they are elongated, perhaps we need to relieve the wheel arches a bit here if we want these kind of tires to not rub. But as I said, the Super Swampers are the smallest tires and the narrowest tire. So I think I'll start with this one, since the performance were really good on the bench here. When we come out in the real world, when we have the spring and the summer coming, I will test a bit more, but for now I'm really satisfied with the vehicle. That's the end of the video, more or less. Let me know what you want to see next from this. Do you want me to change the appearance? Do you want me to keep going on the performance? Because we have more things to do if we want it to climb 60 degrees. I'm certain this vehicle will do it with the tires we have here. But as I said, let me know what you want me to do. Do you want me to continue with the appearance, or do we continue with the performance? And with that, I'm done with the video. If you have enjoyed this one, let's hit the like button, subscribe, that means a lot for me and the growth of the channel. If we can get the family to grow, we can do more stuff if we reach a bigger audience. And with that, if you enjoyed this video, like I said, hit the like button, subscribe, and more RC content is around the corner. This is Ascend RC. See you in the next video. Bye.